Coming to you guys live from the Bridge Acoustic Cafe. This is where Open House gathers. We've been talking about some of the different values we have as a community, and probably the value that most, I guess, grabs the heart of who we are is discipleship. The idea that Jesus has called us to be more than mere believers. The purpose of Christ's coming was not so that we would ascribe to a certain theological bent or doctrinal position, but he wants us to genuinely follow after him. And the way that we do that is by becoming disciples. In fact, the very last words of Jesus we have recorded in Matthew's gospel is Jesus commanded his disciples to go into all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything he had commanded them. And so Open House wants to continue in that calling. It's a calling that is not for the spiritual elite, but for everyone. We're called to become a follower of Jesus. Discipleship has many different meanings to many different people. For me, a good definition of what it means to be a disciple of Jesus is a person who is continually growing in their love for God and in their love for others. Those are the measuring sticks that shows that Christ is a part of our lives, that Christ dwells in our heart. So everything that we do at Open House is structured in such a way. Everything from our worship gathering to our micro groups, which you'll be hearing about soon, everything to our prayer gatherings are structured in such a way that points us, that causes us to become disciples of Jesus. Being a disciple is not something that happens on an accident. In the same way that you don't become skilled at anything on an accident, it happens by intentionality, by doing something on purpose. And so we want to position ourselves as a community to become more like Jesus. Paul was one of the guys who has written 2/3 of the New Testament, and he one time was writing to an early church similar to ours in age probably, and he says something like this, is that you guys became so dear to me that you didn't just share the gospel of God. I didn't just share the gospel of God with you. I shared my very life, my very self, my very soul. Discipleship for us in this community is much more than climbing a ladder. It's much more than being in the know. Discipleship is about a journey, about a relationship where we become so wrapped up in each other's lives, centered on the person of Jesus, fueled by the power of the Spirit, that God the Father transforms and shapes and molds us as a community. Discipleship is something that we value very much and is a part of who Open House is.